welcome to Critical Tumble, where we're a bunch of longtime friends and internet nerds transcend geography through the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons. And we probably won't be critically fumbling a lot today. I don't expect there to be that many rolls, but then again, at some point, maybe in this session, maybe not, they will be going to Egref to talk to people. That's not always their strong suit.
God, I wish we could make persuasion rolls worth a damn.
Well, okay, some of us can, but, I mean, one of them's on sabbatical and one of them's me. And also, frankly, half the time I wouldn't make you make persuasion rolls if what you were saying actually worked to begin with. Anyway, previously, the Cupcake Coterie is sort of winding down their time in Ambir, which was Ferric in the extreme so far. Silver lining involves Hazel not quite yet meeting, but at least getting a connection with her biological father. And Barnabas getting a girlfriend. Everything else was kind of, I mean, they technically succeeded at their goals. Kind of. Sort of. Ish. They were going to free the Protector Azamar from being held basically under house arrest by the Scourge Azamar, but when they turned over that rock, it wasn't a bunch of beetles under it, it was a fucking hornet's nest. And everything went from bad to worse, with the fair few of the Scourge Azamar remaining literally becoming Aranese, killing all but like 3 Azamar, 2 very young Scourge Azamar, and Alice, and trying to build the kind of bomb that the quick flight diminutives did, the kind of radiant bomb that can kill a wellspring. Not knowing how to do it, that was kind of why they killed all the Azamar, to use all their celestial sparks as fuel for this thing. They almost got it. They intercepted Jessamy. That's the other silver lining. Jessamy is no more. Neither is the vampire that taught them the various blood magic rituals that got them their start. But the cackling weirdo, who everybody is presuming is from Egref, they are probably not wrong, and the few other remaining former Scourge Azamar Aranese, and the bomb, are now elsewhere. They're not really sure where. Which is where the upcoming comes in. They need at least a night, and probably the best part of the following day, of something of a breather. Partially because they've been kind of moving from Ferric victory to Ferric victory for days. They barely even took much of a breather after their little trip to Avernus. It also doesn't help that Alice, in her attempt to remove or at least protect this bomb that nobody wants going off from the Aranese, she would have succeeded if she hadn't been killed in the process, but they took care of that. But there's also the post-resurrection exhaustion, which she's by and large trying to push to one side, but no one's letting her get away with that. So there was wandering around for various treats. Barnabas in the Fudge Patch, aka the Fudge Cornucopia of Ambir, was hilarious, and Rylan found another reason to be like, I understand now. They're finishing up with dinner at the Wharfside, which is apparently a relatively big deal. Dalla over at the Fudge Patch recommended that at least one of you try the Marshmallow Sundae, just as a reminder. And then they are going to bounce to Egref, crash at the Riddler Stump, which is their favorite hostelry in Egref, and they have appointments with both Governor Calatiel to finish up the apology tour, which was the only reason Shuri was supposed to be with you guys in the first place, but that didn't quite happen according to plan either. And also to speak to a Professor Natalie August and her Warforged companion Steel to see if they can get any idea of who the giggling lunatic, as Remy called them. You don't really have any other name for this individual, or even a gender. Just all you have is Remy calling them a giggling lunatic. So, Professor August, who deals with the issues that occasionally come with an academy like you would find in Egref, and has been doing so since she herself was a student, might know this person, or at least have some idea where to look. So, this evening and the following day is largely going to be resting, talking, and hopefully not having to, beat the shit out of anything for at least one day. That would be very nice. Anyway, when we left off, we were approaching the wharf side, which is somebody's still booping. Basically, kind of a glass-walled restaurant on the pier, so most sides you're surrounded by water. And it's Rylan who's got the pretty good passive perception, isn't it? And, Alice and Cherie for their own reasons. Rylan will notice that some of that glass wall goes beneath the pier and down actually into the ocean.
Huh.
Yeah, you saw it too, huh?
What's wrong?
Yeah, unfortunately,
It keeps going.
the Barnabas and Ava are going to have an issue because remember, it's still winter, so it's kind of dark. But Remy, who has her own form of dark vision, Clarity, obviously, Hazel, similarly, obviously, yeah, if you look, yeah, those walls go under.
How much of this place is below the waterline?
Some of it. I mean, about half of it is kept aside for... When they say fresh seafood here, they mean it.
Oh.
Amber being Amber.
Well, a lot of the chefs,
Yeah.
a lot of the chefs here are Moskoy. They don't just trade,
It's interesting.
If it's food related, the freshness is going to be aggressively enforced around here.
Yes, I mean, while the Wolf side does a surf and turf situation, it's... The best of it is the seafood. So I suppose before we head in, I should ask the question. Dock level or sea level?
Sea level.
Mm.
I want to see the sea creatures.
I'm just here
I'm
for
trying to
fueling
make friends with
curiosity.
I mean, it makes no mind to me either way. I'm just here for the food. But if someone wants to sea level, let's do it.
I'm fine with either.
I'm mostly making sure that nobody has an issue with below sea level. The Mobius twins can tell you wonderful stories of the more because the Moskoy aren't just around Elossa, There's bunches of them out as far as the Shattered Lands.
Wait, how big is the sea creatures over there?
Depends on
How
where.
crazy did that get?
It depends on where in the Shattered Lands, but put it to you this way: they made they made sub-aquatic vehicles, like you've seen the motor vehicles that roll around on the streets of Egref. Well, like that, but underwater.
Is it weird that makes sense to me just because we're so used to Egref being Egref?
The thing is, they also made them look like large sea creatures.
Ooh.
Imagine a crab that could seat for and have room for cargo.
Cool.
I'm not sure what Ryland thinks about that. There's the processing look again.
Yeah, that is correct.
See, I'm willing to bet that kind of a thing is an actual, creature that they based it off of, because, we've seen the creations of the gods. We live on a creation of the gods. And as we've noticed, consider dire penguins. Consider dire moose. Look how big half the stuff on land gets. I figure the stuff in the water is we've seen some of it.
I mean, what was it that almost ate Clarity? Was it an orca?
Yes, but
Yes,
to be fair,
there's the orca.
that's actually fairly small compared to some of what you can find in the.
Oh, wow.
When you see the wharf side, there's actually some posters on the way down with people for scale. But no, orcas are actually the smaller, some of the smaller of the marine mammals.
That's mildly terrifying.
There's some that can basically vibrate your organs into jelly just by saying hello.
Ugh.
Alice is right. You didn't go on the dive with Darwin, did you? He was curious about the whales out there, and even the ones that were down there weren't even the biggest ones. Yes, I believe the largest of the non-dire whales gets to about 100 feet. To be fair, they don't actually have teeth. They filter little shrimps and tiny fish and things.
Trying to remember if I saw any chunks of baleen while I was wandering around helping.
Probably.
I mean, the weird feathery stuff, right?
Yes. That catches sea life and they just sort of lick it out.
Oh yeah, and then there's also there's obviously dragons that are really aquatic, because there's a whole bunch of them that are all on oceanic cliffsides, like blues, for example.
Blacks and greens tend towards lakes as well.
And I'm willing to bet there's probably something that can offer that competition. What's that story? Kraken?
Alice is, yeah.
Is that the word?
Yeah. I've seen a couple of Kraken hunts. They're a thing. I'm just imagining what the hell kind of thing they'd have in the Shattered Lands, given the stories we've been told about the dinosaurs. Anyway, we've been standing out here looking at this place for the last 5 minutes.
Time to stop staring and actually start enjoying. Yes?
Yes. And you walk in. It's not quite as sea themed as you might think. It's not the tacky, gaudy kind of. You know how they go overboard on the themed furniture and accoutrements in some seafood restaurants? Not quite, but there's still a vibe of they've got their little gas lamps and they're covered with fairly it's not full-blown Tiffany glass, but there's a stained glass-ish that gives the feel of jellyfish without doing anything like, dangling tentacles or anything like that. It just gives a warm-ish glow that feels more natural than most of what you get from humanoid created lighting. Maitre D is a Triton who looks around and, Miss Belasco. Yes, turns out we're going to want, sea level. Yeah, we can do that. How many of you have actually been... None of you have been anywhere near here before. Don't worry about them, they're adventurers. I'm sure they've seen weirder.
DM, is it at all weird that I'm expecting just Akka to rampage by at some stage?
I wouldn't do that in a glass restaurant on the upper levels. You might get a cameo. You could be lucky. But you head down, and there is kind of a feel to those of you who've been in the Egref Shrine to Palor, because a lot of this place is glass. Not the floors, though. Main reason seems to be that they don't need it for the lighting. There's a little bit of lighting on sea level inside the building, but there's also bioluminescent globes floating around the outside as well. You down a fair few flights of stairs as well, so there's clearly a whole other level between up there and where you end up sitting down. And given the little doors that you pass on your way into the main dining room, there's probably yet more stairs, but those are staff only. Yeah, you're not on the sea floor, but you're kind of suspended midway, lit outside and within by the glowing of various bits and pieces. And part of the reason that there's another level is this seems to be a function room. The Triton this is basically the only place that we had on sea level that was large enough for your party. It also gives you some privacy in dining, because basically it's just the one table that's going to fit you guys. Probably more tables could fit in here, but they clearly didn't have a function with a lot of people planned, so basically just table, a lot of space, and just around the edges of the room there's little padded backless benches all the way across, so you can sit and watch while you're waiting for food or something. Because, yeah, with the table in the middle of the room, it's kind of hard to see exactly what's going on. So is everybody just sitting, or are people going to go and press their noses against the window first?
They would probably look a bit closer.
Clarity's up by the windows, just going.
Following.
Yeah, pressing nose.
This is adorable. I have to watch.
Yeah, one of the first things that you see a couple of schools of fish go by. One school of fish goes by very fast, and then any bit of light gets blocked out entirely, and basically you've just got this very large eye looking at you.
Oh. Hi.
It slowly swims by, and the light is still blocked for, good while. And it's definitely a whale, just by the shape of the tail, but not entirely sure what kind it was. Probably not the 100-foot one, but whatever it was big.
Wow.
I'm going to say Ava's on the other side, and what Ava gets is... Ava gets sharks. I mean, they're kind of pretty. The sort of pale black spots on the tip of the fin coming out of their backs and the tails. the Triton who had been trying to sate everybody and now seems to have given up. Just so it goes, yes, they're very territorial. So this is about the best view you're going to get of them. But they're also very good eating. We have to cull them occasionally just to make sure we can actually access the reefs.
Makes sense.
Your waiter will be with you shortly. Enjoy the view.
Thank you.
In a sort of
Thank
there's a note to this guy's voice, which is, why do I feel like some of you are literally only here to watch the sea life go by? Guys, we do have to consider food at some point.
Coming.
Okay, coming.
Alice just gets up, grabs Clarity by the waist, pat, pat, giving her a face full of feathers in the process. She keeps forgetting about that. Sorry. That's not as easy to do anymore, and the bridal carry is reserved for the bride. Yeah, this restaurant is very much emphasis on surf in the surf and turf. There's not a whole lot of variation in terms of meat. You get a choice of 4 cuts of steak.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably actually only Hazel who would actually, and maybe Barnabas, who would actually know anything about the difference between filet mignon, basically, rump, sirloin, and not even Hazel entirely knows what prime rib is. But the only reason she knows about those other cuts is because she'd have gone to the butcher's and seen the little sketch bits. The rest of you are just like, that can't be a kind of animal, what the hell? But the list of seafood that you can get with these is far greater. There's obviously the tiger prawns. There's lobster tail, crab claws, shark steak of various species. Whole list of different kinds of fish. And if you just want seafood, there's, you can have the whole crab, the whole lobster, etc., etc. And, your various sides.
Now I'm baffled because I recognize most of the steak stuff. What the heck is a prime rib?
Delicious.
Yes, it's basically, you probably know it by another name, and it might not be one that you generally kept. As I imagine the fillet would have gone to, say, Star Coast, or the nobility of Cedar Grove, or your own nobility, because those are the tenderest bits. But, prime rib, definitely an experience, and here, if more than one of us have it, they'll actually bring the entire chunk to the table, assuming everybody wants it done the same way.
I just want an entire lobster.
Rylan, if you flip to the back there's Muscoy vegetarian specials. You will not have heard of most of those vegetables exactly. They do have some more standard land-based fare, but for the most part, their vegetarian dishes are unique to the Muscoy. Yes, you can have them as side dishes, looking at Hazel.
This is also, I also have a question for the DM.
Mhm.
How often, given the difference in, I guess, time period locks that it's on Baronsphere versus where we are, with lobster being fancy here, would lobster not be considered the same over there? Because for a while in like the 1800s, it was considered like
Well,
a bug in the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, here it's only fancy because of how fresh it is. The waters in this particular spot do make them something special. But for some place like Star Coast, they wouldn't be bugs of the ocean exactly, but they'd be sardine common. For you, for clarity, for Ava, Rylan hadn't even heard of them, but you guys were landlocked. It wasn't a thing. Might have been a thing for, to be fair, probably not Baron, now good King Langerhan, because all the tax racking assholery was because of Coravel. But never bug of the ocean, but for you guys, fancy.
At minimum, for like the nobility was novelty and interesting because not common.
For inland nobility.
And Starcoast just didn't give shit.
Not much. I mean, for them it was for them stuff like venison was a bit more just because they had to trade for it for you inlanders.
You know that's never gonna stop being weird. That the lobster is not either entirely in the nobles bag of tricks around here.
Yes, clarity about you just want a whole lobster.
Mm-hmm.
I should probably flag up. You'll see on that page there's various lobster dishes. There's a reason for that. The reason lobsters are special around here is their size.
Wait, oh no. It's a dire lobster, isn't it?
Sort of. I'm trying to think. Best descriptor of size. You know Zana, your little seamstress sister.
Right?
The best ones are about that size. The average is the size of Evan.
Do I want a toddler size
making
lobster?
all the gold off of those by themselves? Why did it's look it? Something they never said to market was fish.
Well, that's the thing. They grow. Lobsters don't die unless you kill them. Lobsters are functionally immortal. And if you feed them well and give them enough space, they keep growing.
Ooh. Oh.
I don't imagine that Star Coast takes quite the care about their environment as we do.
Guess that means they just couldn't get out of their shells after a certain point. Don't they like come out of their?
That's hermit crabs, dear. How do you even know about hermit crabs, dear?
No. Because like cicadas pop out of stuff, and these are like.
I think it's more that they just don't actually get any bigger because their diet doesn't allow for it. I mean, why do you think the livestock and such here are so much better than you're used to? It's not just the people we feed well.
Yeah, that's the bit that's throwing me. It's like how does here manage that on every level ever, and it's just this province that does that.
It's I think for us, it's partially that we care for our environment as a duty to the gods, and we're smiled upon by the gods of plenty and Palor because of it.
Mm.
Alice is like, Hazel, think about it this way. Um, I've, I haven't spent a lot of time in Goldendale, but I've heard the odd thing. Do you ever notice how there are some years when maybe the harvest for everybody else has failed somewhat, hasn't gone so well, but you on your farm that feeds the farmers still managed a decent crop?
Yep.
Ever notice why so many people wanted your land, and that's why it could be traded for taxes?
Yep.
Why do you think that is? Your parents care for and are devoted to their environment.
See, this is reinforcing what I was saying about nobles before. And I suddenly have an urge to, once we get, well, home for that, to basically find every other location that isn't, current state of Star Coast and the ones we've already fixed, and go bonk them into actual functionality.
Well, we're still going to have a little bit of a tour to deal with how Ava wants to handle things, so we can probably put that off until we've saved the world, however.
Fair enough.
But for the time being, I mean, I know some of the Musquae, so if anybody has any questions about any of this stuff, let me know. Rylan, are you going to go with land-based vegetables? Something that is
I'm actually curious enough to try what they have here.
Well, that's...
You get land-based things all the time. Might as well try the weird thing.
That's why see, if you'd let me finish the question.
Sorry.
Or are you going to try some of the Musquae things where I can tell you at least sort of what you're getting into?
That would actually be a help, yes. Sorry.
Because, yeah, they actually use the Musquae names for them, so you're not going to be able to tell remotely what's in them. Let's have a look. Okay, this is interesting. They do this thing with... The closest analog I've got is potatoes. I wonder what kind of livestock they have there to be able to actually make cheese. Because this is basically kind of a saltwater potato, seaweed, bit of ginger-ish, bit of garlic-ish. Lot of herbs I cannot actually name for you, and some things that are analogous to zucchini and eggplant. Mixed up, coated with cheese, and baked.
Oh.
And yeah, you can also get it with the only thing I can call them is saltwater tomatoes. Not tomatoes, tomatoes, it's a thing. I tend to like the ones that are cheese and then topped with the saltwater tomatoes.
And I'll probably try that.
Looks at Hazel. Yes, you can try that as a side dish, but you probably... Oh yeah, no, they do those. Cool. It's basically one of those saltwater potatoes I was telling you about. Baked. All the innards are scooped out, mixed with the seeds of this one particular underwater pepper. More of the eggplant analog. Put back into the shell of the hollowed out potato and coated with more cheese, and then baked again. The seeds are, Rylan, I would not recommend those. I would mostly recommend this to me and to Hazel. Maybe to Clarity.
Noted.
But, yeah, beyond that, I just really want to see how adventurous everybody gets. Yeah, do you want a toddler gnome-sized lobster?
I'm thinking that's probably a little too ambitious. Maybe just the tail
Maybe just
and a lot of butter.
Oh, there's definitely going to be... The garlic's going to be a little different because it's Musqué garlic.
Ooh.
You probably had that... There was probably some Musqué garlic in the stuff you had when we were in Bergtown.
Oh, yes. And maybe I'll have a vegetable.
Well, they come with potato side and vegetable side, so you can pick some of that. I mean, honestly, actually, Cherie, do they okay, now I want to know what you're asking. Look, one Musqué place I went to at one point, the lobsters weren't quite the same quality, but what they did was if your eyes were bigger than your stomach, so to speak, they'd take the rest of the lobster and make it into leftovers for you. I think they might. Basically, then you wind up coming out with containers for fillings for lobster rolls, lobster mac and cheese, things you can reheat, because most seafood has a very narrow thermodynamic index for done. So I suppose if you wanted the gnome toddler-sized lobster, you could take it away as multiple meals of lobster mac and cheese or similar.
Would it keep?
Or you could... You haven't got that far yet, have you? You could have the smorgasbord. Flip. Basically, it's a couple of apparently sizable tiger prawns. Like, not just the near, but huge. Couple of crab claws. The name they give it is a little bit highfalutin, but Cherie explains basically what they do is they take the lobster tail, they take out the meat, they chop it up, they put sauce, etc. on it, they put it back in the tail, and then they bake that.
Oh.
And you get all of those with the potato and the vegetable, and I'm sure they would add an actual steak if you asked. You know what? Wait there. Gets up and up the stairs. She's going to ask how much wiggle room they have with the menu for you. You know that, right?
I just want so much shellfish.
Oh, I get it. I was more talking to him.
Oh.
I know.
She basically wants to see how much... If she can get practically everything in the restaurant on one plate. For him.
I'm a lucky man. I'm a fan.
Yeah, I was wondering if you'd noticed you kind of because your camera's focused on a point just above your head.
Yeah, they move, and well, it's the same desk. The proportions of things in here are a little different.
Yeah, it's just because you're at the very bottom of the screen. So,
Yeah, so if I slump, and now it becomes the I'm melting, I'm melting.
yeah, I just wondered if you could like tilt the camera. Possibly not so much, but I wondered.
Yeah.
I wondered. Anyway, yes, no. This comes back later and says, "All right, Clarity, I'm taking it your raison d'être at this point is shellfish."
Mhm.
Well, the waiter has said that we could do basically the lobster tail, egg crab claw, a couple of the prawns, some clams, the wondering about oysters,
Give it to me.
and scallops. With, again, the potato and the vegetable because they don't want anybody getting scurvy. Barnabas.
Yes.
And possibly Remy, but actually possibly Alice as well. The hearty appetites. There is very much a possibility of steak cut of your choice, choice of 3 fillets of fish or shark steak, depending, and 2 bits of shellfish. With
Yes.
again the, but you'd start having to make choices at that point. Alice is, I would suggest the shark steak, the tuna, and probably the saltwater salmon.
Sure, that sounds good.
And I am personally a big fan of the tiger prawns that come through here, so probably the crab claws and the if you get the crab claws and tiger prawns and I get the lobster tail and the tiger prawns, we can share. And
Sounds like a
Barnabas,
plan.
what you do is up to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sheree goes, "Oh, I should have thought Hazel would probably be. You'd probably be interested in that too. Farm girl appetite and everything."
A lot of it, yes. Mostly because I want to find out what the heck they do with that prime rib thing that you described. And I'm still trying to figure out how many different types of shark I can try.
Well, currently they're having shark of the day, and it seems like they're having a black tip cull at the moment. So that's what you're getting this time round. If you want to try other types of shark, you'll have to come back different seasons.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think you just kind of hit the nail on the head with that one. Plus,
You want the potato thing with the pepper seeds.
yeah, I need to see if it compares to foam noodles.
I would also recommend for your vegetables the Muscoy seaweed salad.
Ooh.
Nail on the head again.
Just because you like basically anything I'm suggesting everything I'm sure you would not have heard of.
Yep.
Get
And
clarity.
because I have no idea what you're talking about, I'm basically agreeing to it wholesale.
Get clarity to give you a bite of one of her scallops. I think you'd like them somehow.
The grin has started.
I could trade you a bite of scallop for a bite of shark.
The grin has been doubled.
Waiter who joins you is actually human. You don't see all that many of those these days. And hi, my name is Fred. I'll be your waiter this evening. How landlocked are you people?
Yes.
Well, Rhea and I were technically born in a coastal city, but we didn't really have that much involvement in the coast. So, but I have hung around with the Musqueam for like years. So you know what's going on here. Question first, how many of you are going for the prime rib either on its own or as a separate, or as a part of a larger dish? Sure, yeah. Sure, he was kind of elbowing Barnabas like, I definitely recommend it. Okay, that's at least 4 of you. I probably will as well. Does everybody want it cooked one way? How is everybody on rare?
It works.
Definitely works.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. Basically, takes orders. Those of you who know what you want, I will leave it at that. Remy, I'm assuming, will be guided by Alice A because it's easier that way. I want to know exactly which. Does Barnabas just follow Cherie's suggestions on that?
This time, yes.
Yes. And Ava, I don't know what a noble lady's appetite would actually manage, but
I was thinking. So it's shellfish and either meat or other fish.
well, it depends on what you're going for. There is a couple of special platters put aside for Clarity and Barnabas because they have very specific culinary wants at this point. But there's a lot of things you could go for. You could just go for a piece of fish, some kind of shellfish, just a steak, just whatever.
So I was thinking of the tiger prawns and / or the sea salt salmon.
We can do both of those as a meal if you want. Ashley puts down bread with it's not mold green, but the bread is faintly green. There's we mix dried seaweed in with the flour partially to make it stretch, but also it gives it an interesting flavor. And Flitty is already pounce on a roll, and it kind of rolls out of the basket with it suckling to a woomph. Worth it. Which point, Cupcake the ferret is kind of boying and is clearly attempting to help Flitty eat his way out from under the boulder-sized bread roll.
How much effort is going to be required to control the Omen Griffin?
God, yeah.
All of it. Delicious!
Like, the minute there's a...
Delicious! Look,
if you rampage over the table, we're going to get kicked out. You're going to sit here and we're going to eat like normal mortal people.
I hate to be that person. But when has normal and us ever had anything to do with each other?
I mean,
I am going to let him loose on your dish.
Well, in that case, they'd be braver than I thought. You've seen me. I don't eat very politely.
Situate to hold the Griffin in place.
he's still trying to scramble out. Alice says you have to admit he was really well behaved in the chocolate shop and the fudge patch.
Mm-hmm.
oh, look at him.
Slow, steady.
Just
I'm
give
gonna
him
let
a
go.
damn roll, Hazel.
I'm gonna let go and then reach for a roll to hand over to the little gremlin.
Delicious.
The floppy ass, just going back and forth. What's going on?
Yeah. And yeah, Flitty is trying to share with Cupcake, but Cupcake being the only one of your various living pets with anything like sapience, Cupcake is just trying to steal the whole thing. No, we share! We share! Why are you listening to me?
Rylan trying to separate two of them.
I was trying to give him half,
I know.
but he just keeps trying to drag it all away. Wait until I've broken it in half first, at least. Grab, stretch.
Just ferret doop noises.
Kinda, yeah.
We have some teaching to do, it seems like.
Currently Cupcake is eating most of the inside of this roll from the whole flit he made in the initial nom thing, and is now kind of curled up in it.
What is the roll?
They're still they're pretty big rolls, and B, ferrets are remarkably compactable.
Yeah, they could basically become a sphere about yay big.
I guess like cats.
Pretty much.
Functionally a liquid, yes.
Which is why when you hold them, and they pendulum. But yeah, currently curled up inside the crust of this bread roll. Apparently goes to sleep.
Part of me wants to move them, but part of me is recognizing they are asleep, and that feels like a crime.
Well, Rylan, might be just as well to leave them for the time being in the hopes that maybe they won't smell food when the food arrives.
That's a good point.
That is a fair point.
Honestly, I would be draping a napkin over him, but that's just me. So, quick talk about our itinerary tomorrow. I've done my best to leave some time for sleeping in, as I recognize some of us need it. I am not going to name names. Okay, I probably did not need to say that, but anyway, you will be... The thing is that when I contacted Cal Etiel's secretary, Governor Etiel was actually in the room when she took the call. Cal Etiel is very anxious for your presence at a late lunch. No, I do not know if that is good or bad.
I mean, we had to see him anyway, so...
Oh yes, no, that's the thing. It's just that I don't know whether that you need to be here for lunch is I honestly don't mind that I've been outed because I've been wanting to out myself for at least 10 years anyway, or I've been the one chosen to troll you for your crimes. Because it was either me or Correa Bendis, and nobody wants you dead. Mostly.
I guess anyone might find out.
In any case, after that, I had to leave a good few hours because I don't know what that's going to entail. So you will be meeting with Professor August at about 6 p.m.
Okay.
I would recommend that we take her out for a meal. She's one of those professors who's actually fairly serious-minded, but to the point where she occasionally forgets things like, food.
Oh.
That's why she has that, and her condition is why she has steel. But we could give Steel a little bit of a break from trying to nag food into her.
Okay.
how long before the gears rattle into place about this professor and the food lacking thing? Stories just that Mom and Mama might have mentioned.
I'm gonna hand to Fate that one because Twilly didn't talk that much about the individuals. Never said anything directly to you, but Hazel, when she was home and doing some of her her teaching with Lyra, rather than at Mount Palor, she occasionally heard mention of a now professor in Egref who has to have a helper because she's got this thing where she just hurts all the time. And healing magic does nothing, so...
Tick. Y'all could almost see the gears and almost steam starting to come out of Hazel's ears from overloading.
Say it before it explodes out of your ears.
Wait a second, I've heard of this one. Healing magic doesn't work, does it?
No, but her very presence is quite the boon to experimental herbalists who are trying to work on painkillers.
I didn't realize there were things that healing magic couldn't fix.
Didn't Ava, you remember the Amphisbaena?
That was the
two-headed snake?
Right.
They're
yeah.
poisoned, there's stuff.
Right.
Yeah, Greater Restoration works on a lot of things, but not on everything. Also things that are correspondingly magic versus things that are that toxic.
That's the thing, I was never sure that was actually toxic, it was just a thing that kicked off. Ask her, she's had a lot of consultations about these things, mostly against her will, because she'd have preferred to just, live with it and maybe have some painkillers, but you know what Egref is like.
Must know all the things.
Well,
now I'm just wondering what was this professor's fixation, because all of them have a magical hang-up.
Gravity. To be fair, none of you have heard of that branch of magic.
Huh?
She started using it to make herself lighter so it was easier to get around. And things lighter so they're easier for her to carry.
What?
It's called...
I understand it, but that's just levitation, isn't it?
No. Levitation is one thing, but it only lifts a thing. She can also, as a for example, make gravity pull on you harder.
Ooh.
So you go slower, and if it's much, much worse, you squish. I see Clarity itching for the notebook already.
Oh boy.
She makes a note to ask many questions.
I'll remind you as well when you have a moment. Because remember, we are going there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be honest, she's written a fair few papers, although a great many of them are written from the point of view of I'm trying to teach Egrefians about this type of magic. So mostly it's her finding about 6 dozen ways of saying don't. Does remarkably well at it too.
Oh. We're going to be talking to a professor who not only has a I guess the word would be exotic, has an exotic physical condition, and also uses an exotic form of magic.
And has a very exotic helpmeet.
Like we've gone from just Agref being the exotic thing to the
specificities of exotic. As Hazel
Someone had told me that we'd be seeing this back when I don't know, first left for Mount Palor. I'd have gotten so confused I'd have gotten a nosebleed.
As Hazel is saying that, stuff you didn't order hits the table. You have something that looks like the onion rings you've seen, but probably aren't. You see various little breaded things with little pots of sauce. Appetizers.
Okay, it's my lot.
The hell?
I have no idea.
They hit the surprise me button. I'm trying something.
The onion ring looking things are calamari.
Yeah, one goes in, and you just walk, and everyone's seeing Hazel start to vibrate. Like visibly starting to blur a little.
Yeah, you also have...
you good?
You have popcorn shrimp, breaded mozzarella sticks, and something that's an equivalent of crab rangoon.
Rangoon?
I'd have to look it up for specifics, but it's very good.
It's crab with cream cheese and stuffed in a fried sort of pocket.
I knew the fried thing. I knew I was forgetting something. The cream cheese was what I was forgetting.
Vibrating Hazel has now gone through a bunch more calamari.
Save some room for the other ones, Hazel. And also save some of those for everybody else at the table.
Just still a little incoherent, gibbering, but managing to hold herself back.
And basically dips a crab rangoon into the sauce and just shoves it into Hazel's face. Well, Michigan is going to take advantage of Hazel's current distracted state, which might snap her out of it. Delicious.
What do you want?
Well, no, it's actually climbing up onto the table and
trying to get to the appetizers.
Hold. I'm not restraining. I'm just slowing you down. Let go.
You let go?
Let go very, very slowly.
Yeah, you're probably gonna have to. Okay, no, I'm gonna have to make a contested. That's Dex.
Yup. How long before the cannon happens?
You can eat it all.
Dex, is it Dex save for me? Or Dex check?
We'll call it a check because you're preparing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you let go, Michigan, you boing, and has head smack in the middle of the popcorn shrimp.
No!
Munch.
Somebody please.
There it is grabbing.
Okay. Given that now you're the stupid part is the wrong people are doing these things because it's going to be a contested athletics check for you.
Sweet. Only good things will happen.
Oh boy.
If my computer will do what I want. Athletics.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
0!
Oh my god!
The little gremlin evades your grip, and I'm gonna have to hand of fate this one.
Oh no.
Does not effectively. It bangs into the mozzarella sticks, but all that manages to do is tip about half of them onto Barnabas's plate.
Net success, even if absolute chaos is currently rolling around the table.
Well, he just sort of wiggled out of the way and just mantled the wings so she couldn't get a good grip, and just boom. Yeah, I'll say winged to winged scoop. You need to save some room. Delicious? It probably was, yes. We wouldn't know. You ate it all. Stretches over to Hazel. Snug. Hands the griffin back.
Begin to laugh. You're staying here, okay? You're gonna get at least half of what I get.
Snug. Snug.
Another disaster right here.
Sure is. Could we have another basket of the popcorn shrimp, please? Do you want me to set aside a pet portion?
Looking at Hazel.
Just looking around and asking, says, do I risk it with this thing?
The ferret, by the way, has woken up and is heading in the general direction of some of the spilled popcorn shrimp.
Rotten slice.
Probably at this point.
Well, to be fair, the popcorn shrimp are just spread across the few that are remaining, or scattered across the tabletop. So,
Clarity's gathering some of them up and feeding them to Norman under the table.
well, Flinty's gotten a couple for
Still got
himself.
Norman.
Yeah.
Still got the entire batch.
To be fair, I should have been should have been. Wouldn't Norman have taken an awful lot of damage in those traps?
I don't know.
I'm gonna.
Depends on. Yeah.
I'm gonna say yeah, because those were all over traps. So you probably don't
Okay.
have Norman anymore. Sorry, it just did
Okay.
occur to me because, yeah, just too much all over, poison, lightning, ow, and he's a badger.
Sure.
Yeah, but Flitty's collected a couple of but the Cupcake is very much just stomping around the table and starting to sniff in the direction of the remaining mozzarella sticks. And the waiter is just, it's like at Shandice's when you can ask for a pup cup, and walks off. It occurs to me none of you know what a pup cup is.
No idea. Absolutely no clue. Just watching him go away, like.
Basically, Shandice's is an ice cream parlor, and if you bring a pet, you get a small cup of very simple vanilla ice cream, maybe whipped cream, something like that, just to keep the pet entertained and fed and treated.
And prevent them from eating something that's not going to sit well with them.
Basically, and they call it a pup cup.
I'm keeping you out of the spicy stuff because that would nuke everything. That would just do unspeakable things to your insides.
I'll say it's part crow.
Yeah, I still am not sure I trust that, given what else that this gremlin is made out of.
Cat.
We'll see then.
Shree, do you have any care notes on church griffins? I really wouldn't worry.
Capable of eating anything?
As I recall, one of the care notes about diet is making sure that they don't eat everybody out of house and home, and they're definitely not obligate carnivores. I think the only list of things they shouldn't eat are wood, fabric, stone, metal,
So non-edible things, essentially.
the flesh of any sapient beings nearby, any household pets.
What are you?
Omen, gremlin, Omen, gremlin.
I don't know why I asked.
Yeah, it comes back with a fresh basket of the popcorn shrimp and another basket that sort of looks at the table for a minute, walks away with the basket, comes back with basically an end table. Sticks it sort of between Rylan and Hazel and puts the basket on it. Yeah, and Cupcake is already
Kind of
being...
wrangle the ferret.
Hands off and just watch.
Yeah, I mean, Cupcake, if Cupcake is being lowered into more food, then great. But, yeah, it's kind of hilarious because after the brief fracas that follows, you have Michigan with Cupcake right between his ears. Both of them yermfing. And Flitty looking at this and then goes, I have actual manners. I'm going to stay at the table. If that's okay. Is that okay? Fine with me. Like you said, you've always demonstrated manners.
That was Sylvan, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's the one most of you speak. I mean, it doesn't matter to Remy, Barnabas, and Alice because they have... I can just understand fairy dragon charms, but unfortunately, Ava's the only one left out when... at the moment, anyway, when Flitty speaks Sylvan.
Yeah, well... Maybe eventually, by just proximity, this thing will learn manners from you.
I don't think so. Your Michigan is very nice, but your Michigan is a doofus.
That is correct.
Is it not fair to say that he suits you very well?
It's entirely fair because it's correct.
He's adorable and very helpful and really sweet and very much like Snugglies and food and a bit of a goofus. He's perfect for you.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yep.
We love you for that the same way you love him for that. Maybe not quite the same way because we don't think of you as a house pet. Well, I do, but you're all my pets, so that's okay. Flitty has not changed his opinion on these are my pets.
Have we been good pets?
Mostly you've been fine. There's a couple that I guess I'm kind of glad aren't my pets anymore. Although, at the very least, the wizard man was always pretty nice to me. I think that's because he wanted me to be his familiar. I don't think that's how familiars work. But he wanted it anyway. I am my own entity! And right now I'm gonna try one of the crab things. Boing. Yep. Oh. It's funny. I said at the start of this, I don't think it's going to be critically fumble a lot day, and yet,
Just
Yep.
failed upwards somehow.
well,
I got a 0.
could be worse. There are some people who roll shit who can get negatives in that case. Although I am reminded
3.
of Sam as not first. It's just like 0. 3 minus 3 is 0. After rolls of like 32.
That one would have been a -2.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think he has gotten negatives in Christmas stuff before,
Probably
too.
he has, but probably not lately because it really was like Bard, not. Fresh cut grass I don't think was negative
There-
charisma.
No,
But
I think it was just a +0.
Now a paladin.
0.
yeah, so
Paladin Bard.
yeah, I think Sam found his niche. I also always know when he's the one who's written a Legend of Vox Machina episode. Because they're
Right.
always the trolly ones.
Go full meme.
He cannot resist those scattering in those little Easter eggs. He can't do it.
Little nonsense engine moments.
He's a gremlin. He's an adorable gremlin, but he's a gremlin regardless. Anyway, we have
chaos.
yes, we have reached the halfway point, so we'll take a break and we'll at the very least finish up the meal and possibly discuss exactly how you're going to go about things and what is to be done and asked at your various meetings when we come back. And we're back. So we're in the middle of pet chaos with appetizers. And once the remnants have been cleared away, actual dinners arrive. And yeah, and it smells marvelous, and it's an awful lot of food. But yeah, the prime rib is this huge chunk of rib that they finish at the table and slice off the chunks for Alice, Barnabas, Hazel, Remy probably. And yeah, Rylan gets this thing that looks like a cross between Potatoes Dauphinoise and Moussaka. And Hazel gets a little miniature baking dish of the same... well, no, because she decided on the... Basically, it's a split open baked potato where all the insides have been scraped out and put back in with chunks of eggplant, and you can't smell the spicy exactly. In fact, it doesn't even look particularly spicy, just because you can see little white seeds, kind of like the seed you find in a green pepper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Me starting off with like actual meat first, just generally seeming normal, and then just veering really abruptly into the spicy thing, just because I can't resist it anymore. I have to figure out how much punch this has.
You have advantage, but I am going to need a con save.
Yeah, that means anyone else would, except for Alice, they would be dying.
I mean, she got the same thing, so... You got too many seeds at once.
I thought she had advantage.
Yeah, you do have... Sorry, you're right. Advantage, dear. Roll again.
All right.
Yeah, the first bite was you got one too many seeds. But the second bite is you got just the balance right.
You okay?
Hang on a second.
Making faces.
Yarf.
I think she's okay.
I think it was just a smidge too much. And now it's just right. And yeah, Clarity has never seen so much or such good seafood in her life.
Mm.
He's eating very quietly, but like every bite, she's just like, mm.
Yeah, the end table has been laden with smaller plates, and Cupcake and Michigan are demolishing those. I mean, I'm currently I'm trying to decide how we deal with the Calatiel thing,
Yeah.
because I mean we have no idea what this is about, but if everything I've ever heard about Calatiel is right, um, the only reason they might be upset at us is that nobody can be running the betting pool on what Calatiel actually is anymore.
Yeah.
Calatiel is Calatiel, so they'll find a way to turn this into
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that will just take
further pursuit of knowledge somehow.
Yeah, but it's just the riddle's been solved. That's the part they may not like.
Hmm.
Somehow I'm under the impression that they might go from, okay, that's step, okay, we that solving that part of the riddle is step 1. What about 2 through 10?
I suppose. But, you know, we're still expected to offer an apology, no matter how much we might not necessarily need to.
I might be wrong, but I also feel like, wouldn't we know if they were really upset with us?
From all the way over here? Egger's
Yeah,
way
we
down
kind of
there.
haven't directly seen Calatiel since.
I think the last time we saw Calatiel was the wedding.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
But how do we plan if we don't know what to expect?
Well, I suppose it's more think of anything we might need to ask them, so we can figure out when we see their reaction how best to approach it. I don't know. Possibly even, like, offer them a fruit basket or something? If Calatiel is the fruit type? I don't know. What do we think Calatiel eats? Okay, so everybody but Rylan, who was not there, make me an intelligence check.
Meat.
I don't. Because it's dragon related, I don't suppose I have advantage because it's favours enemy.
Not in this particular case, no.
Fair enough. Intelligence.
Oh, we got no ideas.
No, Lindira does. Sorry, Clarity does. Clarity very much does. Because for this time, this is basically Cherie seeing how much you bunch of weirdos can figure out on your own. Meat was involved, but Calatiel seemed to have a massive sweet tooth. For instance, this is what Clarity will be telling you later, because I'm just explaining to Clarity what she noticed and remembers now. Things like, made some particularly interesting sandwiches, which involved, for example, bacon crammed into cinnamon bun. And, like, crumbled further bacon bits on piece of wedding cake. So yeah, has to have the meat. Definitely an obligate carnivore, but sweets. Lots and
Well,
lots of sweets.
meat is a factor, of course. But with a sweet tooth. I seem to remember they were crumbling bacon on wedding cake, but was quite enjoying the wedding cake, and made a sandwich with a cinnamon bun with bacon stuffed in it, which I mean sounds terrific, and I need to do that sometime.
So what? Bacon chocolate chip cookies?
Candied bacon.
I'd
Okay.
say either of those things,
Yes.
probably.
Just yes. That last one. Yes.
Oh, I never took you to the Hawk, did I?
Oh,
To the
is
what?
that?
It's basically everything bacon.
Mm.
Oh. Oh, I love this town.
It's part of where a couple of our donut bakeries get their ideas. They do the best maple bacon bars.
Sounds like something Joe would like.
And yes, they have candied bacon. They have bacon ice cream.
Should probably get them a selection, don't you think?
Well,
They have spicy candied bacon.
more than likely. Well, we'll talk to Andres and see if a gift basket can be arranged.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, it's fair enough. You gave Crea Bendis presents. I mean, okay, you gave the head of a pit fiend, but
I mean, that's still a present, isn't it?
oh yes, that's what I mean. It's not exactly as useful, but she has a fine trophy for her wall now. And all right, you didn't get anything for Hjal Fortinbras, but I suppose information is something. So yes, I'll take you all to meet Andres on our way, and any last minute bits we need to be doing. While we're talking about it, is there anything else anyone would particularly be interested in that they can think of food-wise? I know what a trial this is to be asking while you're already stuffing your faces, in a good way, by the way. That's generally not seen as a mark of gluttony here. It's seen as a compliment. So,
Makes sense.
apologies in advance. But I understand you're currently killing your appetites, but maybe that will make you more clear-headed on various favorites. Because Rylan in particular has been surprised multiple times by some of the things that this city has on offer.
I wouldn't mind more of those roasted nuts. I gave mine to someone in Avernus.
Oh, you went to Fred's, didn't you?
Yeah.
He has a shop.
I would like to go to that shop.
I don't think it's too far away from the Hawk. Yes, Ryland is currently having an interesting time with vegetables that are delicious, but not something they have ever tried before. There's no analog to this.
Trying to both process food and the question at the same time.
Rylan, were you along for the ride when we hit Multiply Central for a while?
There's no analog for this.
To answer your question while they're processing, no, they weren't. I don't think that the tribe they went with actually stopped at Burketown. And they were with us when we got to.
That's going to make for some, yeah. You're right. We met them in the right in the front of
the Silver Vault.
the first. Yep, right in the first room.
Yep, reading the Scroll of Heroes.
You didn't get to experience some of the absolute variety, because if I recall, he also told us that it's not just like Bergtown isn't the only way that their setups work. They have like somebody told me about like one group straight up grew their own boat.
Not the boat, the island.
Yeah, they took a tree and turned it into a floating something.
Yeah, that's ours.
Wait, that's here?
How can you be surprised? We grow things.
No. That's not. I keep forgetting that sometimes they don't. Look, I wasn't entirely expecting both of the. Look, I figured if Embeer is all about growing things, maybe the local Moscow don't need to grow it quite as much. But no, it's both communities of growing everything in one place. That's terrifying.
Paylor has blessed us. For good reason.
Yeah, don't mind me. I'm just going to quietly have a religious conniption right now.
Eat your food.
I would think the prime rib would just be enhancing said conniption, honestly. It is that good.
Mm. Admittedly, I find it's better in the springtime. The sand tiger is particularly good around that time of year. It's a type of shark.
Okay.
That's usually the shark of the day, that particular.
Oh, I see.
Also, because they are also, as I believe I've heard it mentioned, sea bitches, and we have to try to cull them to keep them away from the underwater fishing. Not even so much a village. It's like, you know those hunting cabins?
Mm-hmm.
There's a bubble, which is their fishing cabin.
Oh, I see.
And points at the window, and yeah, you see a few individuals, because it's not very well lit. Details aren't happening, but humanoids certainly swimming along, possibly doing a patrol with with tridents and what it would take Rylan to see might be a harpoon gun. So clearly somebody around here models themselves, arms themselves out of Egref.
Neat.
Oh.
Egref is the one that just built their own island from scratch and has a intricate system of rainwater collection, which makes the entire place look kind of like an orchid grove.
Interesting.
That sounds beautiful.
It is, but it can be quite loud. They made it so when raindrops hit it, it chimes.
Oh dear. DM, real quick question. Was being at the docks last time, was that where I just recall, I have this flashback of us seeing a sea lion basically just running down a dock and getting chased.
Yes, you were actually...
That was here.
Yeah, that was when you were you had been looking at Hazel's biological dad's place of work and You just happen to get Akka, will you put that down? And you have heard the stories about Akka, eater of things.
Wait a second. Moskoi. Is that where the Akka, the eater of things, resides?
For the moment, yes, they had some issues with the the Duchy of Ships. Barony of Ships, pardon me. They're the ones that are associated with your Star Coast. Or were. Still are, kind of. Might be again. But it became a little unsafe, when the Death Fog landed.
I'm just processing the fact that the Eater of Things used to be off of the coast of Star Coast. What?
And again,
I'm surprised I didn't hear stories about that already.
You didn't seem to hear...
Or, seeing that thing come upriver and try to eat half our crops.
Points. You see this very large brown blur go... That's how they move in the water. You saw how they moved on land.
Yeah. Well, I could hear how they moved on land. It was slap, 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 slap.
Well, it slapped past you, so you saw it too. And, shape that is probably a Triton is after.
Do I... Oh boy.
They might
that chase doesn't ever stop, does it?
I think they're probably exercising right now, but there's a certain you and Michigan thing about those two.
That is... Again, how did they not end up halfway up the river in Goldendale and eating all of our stuff?
River's a bit too shallow for that, probably.
That is... Thank you, Paylord.
Alice says, okay, so... After whatever it is that happens with Calatiel, we're going to have to talk to this Professor August.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to approach that? Who wants to start us off on the talking?
Be there.
Well,
I don't want to. I don't know if I want to start off the talking, but I do want to be there.
Well,
and
we're all
ask
going.
Many questions.
Yeah, everybody's going to be there. It's the asking the questions that's the problem. Because while I respect your curiosity, and knowing things is great, we have a mission right now.
I understand.
Honestly, I'm thinking either Barnabas or Remy.
Probably your safest bets there, because I'd probably end up starting some kind of a tangent because of Mom.
And, Ree, you definitely know what questions to ask most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Barnabas tends to have slightly more of an edge on wording, but you have the sheer... It's a kind of charisma. It's a... Yes, you have authority thing.
Mm-hmm.
That and a tendency to get so far into the point of a matter that sometimes you go a little too far, but you do get to the point very quickly.
Yeah, I think the only problem is that, Cherie, do we have any ideas on how best to approach this woman? Well, I think there are some circumstances in which she is actually a lot like Remy. Rather bullheaded. Pardon me.
No, that's fine.
And definitely will see reason, but not easy to talk to if you get her into a grump.
Do not piss her off. Got it.
Well, remember, she is the one who can make gravity itself try to crush you.
I don't want to become a
Cake pan.
that. Or, shoved into the space of a thimble.
She usually uses the threat of coffee cup. I will slap you with a singularity so hard your remains will fit in a coffee cup.
I don't even know what a singularity is, but that just sounds terrifying.
I'm not going to attempt to explain black holes to you.
Black holes? Just very confused, cleric.
You know how the what you call the black shit wants to eat the world?
A bit.
Like that, only not with any malicious intent.
But how does something like that not have malicious intent? What?
It's a natural phenomenon, believe it or not. It's absolute nothing that takes all the something and crushes it into nothing.
And that's a form of magic.
No, that just happens, apparently.
They're currently suffering existential crisis over the fact that there is a magic that can control that.
It's a much smaller scale what graviturgy can do. LSA stuffs another forkful of the potato thing in Hazel's mouth. I needed to break up the existential crisis. Only one of us can have those at a time. So yeah, we're basically asking, how much do we know about the giggling lunatic, wasn't it?
Yep.
Because I didn't get much.
All I managed to see was a lot of giggling, and I tried to hit it, but I couldn't actually reach it.
Do we know what he looks like, roughly?
Roughly.
To be fair, Marion, you've all seen them.
Yeah, that's what I was double checking.
And I just didn't see them for very long because I was either being ported to Avernus or beaten off to the celestial plane again.
Well, between all of us, there should at least be enough physical descriptors to, I don't know, form a portrait?
Or disguise self.
Or that. That's still freaky.
Yeah, that'll do.
Mm-hmm.
There's more, I mean, it's entirely possible they didn't look like that when Professor August knew them, is the thing. Just because the burns, the lack of hair, it changes a face.
Mm-hmm.
There might be enough for recognition, or maybe their helper will be able to.
Well,
recognize.
I was thinking more, I mean, what we saw them doing. And obviously there was an alchemy component there.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe we can ask about someone like that with who, because they smelled very strongly of chemicals.
No, there can only be so many alchemists that have been banished from Igra for being deranged.
Cherie looks at you like, you think?
Hmm.
To be fair, it depends on your definition of deranged.
Also that.
Memorably deranged.
That still depends on your definition.
Okay, remember the story? Remember how we were told, at least part of the story of why the last resort is the last resort, and the mechanical things that a bunch of people from
Yeah, Spanish from Eggman.
Formerly from there, Unleashed. There's a lot of diversity in levels of crazy.
And to be fair, we don't know whether they started as an alchemist and expanded into weapons creation, or they started with weapons creation and took a minor in alchemy to fill their little bombs with.
Say nothing of any other possible combinations of that, because they could well have started off as I don't know, an evoker wizard just trying to recreate their booms in a more stable fashion, so that they could wait with them and use them later.
Barnabas, you might have more of a... To be fair, you were quite fond of her. If you want to know all the different schools of study in the Eggref Academy that might narrow things down for you, could you not ask Molly?
Yes.
You know where she hangs out. And to be fair, when Barnabas mentions that, both Remy and Hazel will remember Peric who studies at. So yeah, Barnabas. Well, start with Barnabas. Just going. I want to give everyone their moments.
Okay.
So the try.
No, we're. No, I was going to let people say things in character.
Oh, I could always ask Molly about.
Oh, right.
And there's all that could give us kind of a lay of the land type of thing, or a way to approach.
It'd also be a good way to ask it. Well, how to interact with Professor August in general, just because we have such limited info there too, like beyond what we've been outright told, and just not to piss her off.
Wasn't there that dude at the Paler Shrine where you got components and stuff? Wasn't he also a student? Ree, you dealt with him a fair bit, I think.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, he was. Anyway, we're gonna have to go there anyway, so we can ask him on the way.
Yeah, we might have some time between the meeting with the governor, who I would not recommend asking anything about anything like that. You know the tangents they will go off on. And by that time, the last of your dinner has either been finished by you or finished off by helpful pets. Are people still going for the marshmallow sundae?
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
Sure is. I would recommend we take dessert on the back patio.
Okay.
We've been underground for a while, and out seems good.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Besides, it's quite a pretty view this time of night, and the dolphins might be playing.
Ooh,
Oh.
that sounds amazing.
Yeah, and the human waiter comes back and I don't think we'll be needing the dessert menu. The marshmallow sundaes all around.
Yeah.
And we'll take them up on the back patio. You know the way. Yeah, the back patio at the moment is everybody seems to be inside for the moment. They seem to mostly be working on their meals, but there's some reasonable sized patio furniture out there. And one of those padded backless benches stretched across the entirety because it's as wide as the restaurant, as sort of a place to sit and watch whatever sea life is doing its thing. You can see the sea bears lounging on their rock off where the more loading dock area of the coast is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as you're sitting down and seeing what's there to see, dolphins.
Mm.
Yes, it's their time off at the moment. They've herded all the fish that might be wanted today into the various nets, and any that weren't cooked today are released at the end.
Oh, okay.
They're as squeaky as Michigan.
Doesn't seem too pleased with that.
Not able to speak quite as coherently, but the squeaking.
I mean, I don't notice Michigan squeaking that much.
Gives literal crow squawk.
He seems offended.
That's a
Yeah,
see.
to be honest, it's Cupcake that's a bit more squeak chitter. Currently, Cupcake is significantly full and is just draped along the back of Ryland's neck inside the scarf.
Just absolutely fucking out.
Well, that was a lot of food. Happy to have
Become
it.
a perfect sphere of a ferret.
It kind of too much of that is kind of like that one gif that's the really chunky ferret. Pat 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 skin. And
Michigan is getting extra scritches for the just the squawk.
yeah, your marshmallow sundaes are set before you, and when they are, they start just entirely white. Vanilla ice cream, some sort of white sauce, and marshmallows stuck around the rim. But when they're set in front of you, the colors change.
Oh.
They're still based white, but for Barnabas, it goes a sort of a golden color, and there seems to be little chunks of fudge in there.
Ooh.
Remy's basically goes pure chocolate, about 3 different kinds. Ava's goes very much strawberry. Clarity's very much blueberry. Struggles a bit with Hazel's, but hers just goes interestingly rainbow in the sauce. Ryland's, the sauce is a sort of a very pale green.
That is incredible.
How do they do that?
They have close ties with Eggref. Yeah, and yeah. Clarity's is obviously blueberry. Ava's is obviously strawberry. Remy's is obviously chocolate. Hazel, every bite is different.
So
And a lot of it is fruits you don't have a name for.
Oh. Literally surprised me.
There are a few bites are straight up pomegranate though.
There's going to be so many adventures just finding out what I'm tasting in about half of this.
Barnabas's is is the Bakewell Tart Fudge. And Ryland's Mint Raspberry.
See, this is why I was asking the fudge people about this.
As people take a bit of a moment, just quietly eating and starting to unwind, for Hazel, Remy, Alice, and after a minute, Ava, everything else around them seems to kind of stop. For Remy and Ava, this doesn't involve you, but there's a tie involved that means you can bear witness. And the moon gets substantially brighter. Now, Hazel in particular, given she's had all the Mount Palor training, knows that there's no god or goddess of the moon here, because they know here that the moon is just reflecting Palor's sun. So that Palor is always with his people. So yeah, the moon has got substantially brighter. And not quite spotlighting Hazel, but very much this is where my focus is right now. And yeah, the voice of Hazel's god. You have done many boons for us, for your world, and have asked so little in return beyond the tools to do it. We have given others of you different boons, but you have never asked. We appreciate this. I feel a boon is deserved now. You have wished on the larger scale for one thing and one thing only. For your place to reflect this place. They have earned my blessing through day-to-day activity. You have earned a boon of this nature alone or with your friends by sheer heroism. Winter will soon come to an end. When spring appears, provided that your Golden Dale is kept free of the soul taint, Golden Dale shall be as Zlato Aur. And before Hazel can get out of the immediate shock, things sort of start up again. And
oh man, I'm so full.
Yeah, everybody got that pause, and then just suddenly, from whatever normal position to just apoplectic fucking shock. Cleric is glitched out.
Alice is just kind of smiling at her, just like,
This is a this is a great Sunday. I mean, it's good. I don't know if it's that good.
it's not that.
Just give Hazel
Give her a minute.
or 5.
What broke the Hazel now?
Hazel needs
Everything's fine.
Hazel needs to be the one to tell you, but she gets off her bench and sort of hunches in the unreasonably attractive gargoyle position. You want some help up? Breathe. Breathe with me. In. Out. One more time. In. Out. Once more. In. There you go. Out. Shuri is looking at Barnabas going, I see why you miss her every time she goes away.
Oh, yeah.
And then offers an arm. Come on. Up. Up you come. Back in the chair.
Darling, what's happened?
It's a good something just to reassure you.
It's not often that the gods answer anything that directly. To say nothing of what can only be described as, I guess, a subconscious wish?
Prayer. Let's face it. It was a prayer on your part.
While we're eating our Sundays?
No. Give her a minute.
Okay,
When she gets it out, you'll understand. But talking about it will help calm her down. That's why we're not.
So, you know how I'm always like worried about Goldendale and home, and just since day one I've been kind of on about making that place as much of a thing as possible. Like when I found out about how so much stuff works here, I wanted to see if maybe talking to people would get actual trade happening and all of that. That message went through the divine gate, and I just got a very direct answer.
All right.
We keep Goldendale completely safe and untainted. I guess the best way to say it is the same blessing that applies here is going to apply there.
Oh.
What Paylor actually said was their place, Goldendale, shall be as this place. While Hazel's probably focusing on things like the soil quality and the magical blessing it's got and everything else. Just today, I think I've mentioned at least 3 times about the trade they have going with Egref. So it probably means the same trade network, too.
Wow.
He said she asked for so little, just the power she used to do her job to protect and heal the world, that it felt like a boon she deserved.
I can only just keep doing my best. I have no idea how that... Don't mind me, just gonna quietly have a religious experience again.
Just to say, Hazel, and I'm pretty sure everyone will agree with me, given I've given some context, you don't have to go overboard, because clearly what you're doing is enough.
Okay.
Do you know how many times you've saved all of our asses?
Hi. It's kind of tied.
point.
It's kind of tied
point.
between you and Ree at this point.
Yeah, I think the rules are you don't get to go away while that one's still there.
Well, this one doesn't get to go away while I'm still here either, because I can raise the dead too.
Good point. The rules work in every direction.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's face it, none of us are really allowed to die.
Nope.
Yeah.
Not while one of us is left standing.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I guess that's something that it helps to hear while we're going into the next phase of this is the best way I can put it.
Mm.
And there's been a lot of mess with this already. It's nice to have some good.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Oh.
Eat the rest of
Take
your
a while to
but eat the rest of your sundae
entirely
before
understand
it melts.
that.
Sundae melts. Also, Michigan is trying to stick his beak into it. Delicious.
You can have the rest of mine.
Eating Michigan
ate too
this
much.
stuff too at this point.
Actually, it bounds onto Clarity's shoulders, which is a bit woof. Because corgi puppy, woof. rub, rub. And then, boom, beak into the... It's interesting watching something with a bird beak try to lick ice cream out of the bottom of a sundae dish. Full though you are, was it worth it?
Oh, yes. I had so much, and it was all wonderful.
And I'm betting you still
you-
haven't had quite your fill of seafood in general yet.
I mean, today, maybe.
Yeah, well, I meant...
Lifetime? No. I'm just getting started.
Well, maybe next time we have some time to spare, we'll take you to one of the Barbies on Grove Island. Grilled, you know those prawns?
Mm.
The Mosquée settlement, Grove Island, has the bigger ones, the ones that are about that. And they do those on kebabs with scallops and things, and they do this whole fish fry deal as well. So Grove Island is, because it's just on the water, then they don't have quite the same setup as Burketown does. They're mostly seafood. That's why so many of the Musquoy who are maybe retiring or just didn't want to live on Grove Island work at the wharf, I think.
Yes, we're going there, and I will eat plenty.
But for the time being, as long as we've finished everything up, hello, Floof Nugget the Second. Not having any of that, apparently. No. Right. If we're done, Rylan, are you good for Egref?
Yeah, if everybody else is ready.
Mm-hmm.
Circle or teleportation?
Given I've never been, probably the circle.
You've
Just
been. You
easy.
have been to Egref.
Remember the tram?
The
Yes,
and the cats. And the cats.
it's been a while.
Yeah, because if we go circle, we end up somewhere very specific and possibly in someone's office.
No, we know that the circle gets us into one of those stained glass teleportation circle booths.
Right. Agraf has those.
Yeah, and even Bellaray's had those. We just the first time we did it, it was just an emergency, and the only circle pattern we were given was for the emergency one in the Bellaray's Trying to Palor.
That would be why I got it confused with the office problem.
Yeah. I still remember the priest of Palor.
In the back rooms, just everybody getting very confused.
No, now you're conflating that with something else, Cherie. You're conflating that with when we all turned up in the spa here. I missed that one. Should I be glad I missed that one?
Wrong place at this point.
Can we just go?
Yes.
Yes, somebody just launches before I start on another tangent.
The teleportation circle will involve riding a tram to the Riddler stump. Teleportation circle, you can pop in front of the Riddler stump. It's up to you on what spell slots you have.
I mean, I've got slots to do either. That's why I'm.
Oh, wait! No, we can't. The bacon.
Oh, right.
The nuts.
Right.
Okay. Bacon, nuts, Agraf. That seems to be the order.
That does, in
so.
fact,
Yes.
seem to be the order. I personally think that when they reach the Hawk, Barnabas, even with a stomach full of surf and turf, is probably going to have a little bit of a Homer Simpson moment. Because it really is Bacon Emporium.
Oh no.
Seriously, that's like, you've got the candied bacon, you've got chocolate covered bacon bits, you have regular bacon bits, you do have bacon ice cream. And butcher rack over there with bacon of all cuts. To be fair, most of you, Hazel and Clarity and Ava to a point would have mostly seen back bacon. So the really thick ones, not the streaky stuff you mostly get in the States.
Right.
What the? Just gesturing in lengthwise, and then just like mental size comparison.
But they also have the Canadian bacon, which is almost more ham.
And that one's just a circle.
It's still bacon. It's still from Andres, the gentleman behind the counter. It's all bacon. It's just different cuts of the same very large cut of pig.
This is genius. This is amazing. Okay, I was told there is candied bacon here. What is the spiciest kind you have?
Okay, if you go down to that shelf over there, we have it's spice labeled from 1 to 5. Beware the one that's labeled 7.
Great comes back, fucking beeline happens.
Oh,
I was going to say, Barnabas isn't even looking at her, and Hazel's going directly to the 7.
I warned her. What? It sure is. Andres. No. She has the people's tolerance for the spicy. Okay.
She lives for the spicy.
In which case, point her down to the next aisle because there's the chili chocolate bacon poppers.
Ooh, that definitely sounds up her street.
Alice
I'm too far away to hear that.
Alice says, "Who wants to tell her?" I don't want to tell her. I am too tired to tell her.
Tell her.
Okay. And
Yeah.
hey, you find Hazel probably remembering you're supposed to be assembling a gift basket, but also going spicy candied bacon.
Darling,
Scooped up the 7. I'm just like sniffing at it.
Even through the bag, it's kind of like. It's kind of like using a bottle of a Tabasco sauce as a nasal spray.
I mean,
I'm just gonna grab her by the shoulders and then direct her toward where he had pointed.
Babe,
And
where are we going?
Yeah, then there's another little bag with a row of bags with labels. The chili chocolate bacon poppers.
Hey,
I
this giggle
told you
does
you'll
in
want
fact be
those.
involuntarily hypersonic.
I'm too tired for this shit.
Clarity grabs a bag and puts it in her hands and then gives her a smooch on the cheek.
Just vibrational level squee. Not hypersonic this time, thankfully.
Yes, Cherie has decided to assemble the bits that Hazel was not put in charge of. I probably should have been in charge of the spicy candied bacon, but Hazel, Clarity, we are on a bit of a timetable here.
Yep.
And she's just pushing Hazel along like a shopping cart.
Yep.
I got one armful that's for the basket, and the other armful is for me.
Yeah, the other good thing about shopping with Cherie is that she's basically putting it on the tab, so no, for the stuff that she is saying is for business of a sort, their money's no good there. Hazel's comes to 2 gold.
Yes.
The nut stall owner has their shop ways away from the bacon shop, but by a ways I mean only kind of a couple of blocks. And it's every kind of nut you can think of, some you haven't heard of, some candied, some honey roasted, some maple sugar roasted, some dry roasted, some spicy barbecue, some salted. All manner of flavors.
Clarity will get like a little of each and a lot of maple sugar almonds.
Yeah, a little of each. I mean, we're talking peanuts, almonds, cashews, Brazil nuts, hazelnuts. We're talking just about any nut you could imagine finding. That's a lot of nuts. Yeah, yours is probably also going to come to 2 gold.
Okay.
Is Hazel looking for anything in particular? You know what? I'm hand of fading this one. Yeah.
So,
They have thing you haven't heard of. Fred calls it jalapeno nuts. Mostly we're doing the peanuts and the cashews right now, and gives Hazel a little sampler cup. And yeah, that's the kind of thing that Ava and Rylan would step back from because of the spicy smell.
just the aura.
Whoa.
Good God. Yeah, no, trying this. This is perfect.
Yeah, this is approaching the foom noodles.
This is actually really close to the foam noodles. This is great.
I'm gonna say 5 silver for a decent sized bag of the habanero, the jalapeno nuts.
Perfect.
And yeah, Alice has the idea of actually adding some of the sweeter roasted nuts to the gift bag, just because, well,
Not a bad idea.
it's sweets and it's protein, and I imagine he'd like the crunch, crunch, crunch. They look
Not
like
bad
the
idea.
sort of individual who likes the crunch.
Doesn't hurt.
You know,
to add
when they're having molars.
Doesn't hurt to add a little extra.
Yep. And somewhere in all that, probably while we're looking for Molly and Perrick, we have to remember to give Ava some time to deal
Fix
with
my
fix or replace. I don't know how
Mm.
well that can be put back together. Because, yeah, keep in mind, there was shrapnel. That thing shattered.
Right.
I mean, ow. But for the time being, last thing, Rylan, decision time. Circle or direct teleport? Not hearing you.
Headphones.
There we go.
There we go.
Wrong mute button.
I think in Ryland's mind, it's been long enough that they'd play it safer and just do the circle.
Okay. So, yeah, we will end with you turn up in one of the little stained glass booths. And from there, in 2 weeks' time, we will gloss over trolley ride, see how long some of y'all are willing to let poor Alice sleep in, and get some actual stuff done. But for now, we are at that time, so I'll see you in 2 weeks, which I think takes us to upcoming to the new year, but not quite there yet. I don't think anybody will have problems over the Christmas holidays, but if they do, let me know as soon as you can. And if nothing interferes, I'll see you in 2 weeks.